Today we will be testing the Ulcer index indicator. But before we do, if you have not watched the first video on the channel and all the videos after that, you need to go do that now. Here at the Academy of Forex, we are building the best trading system possible as a team. There is also a link down below to sign up for Tradingview. You can save a little bit of money if you use the link below to sign up for your account. You can also find a link below to join us on Discord. Lastly, if you would like a list of all the indicators we have tested along with their win rates, but you aren't interested in watching all the videos on the channel, you can sign up for our $9 Patreon, and you will receive the complete list of indicators. We also would like to introduce our Patreon exclusive Discord channel. As a $9 Patreon, you will be invited to join an exclusive Discord channel where we will give you a list of winning indicators and links for the MT platform, give you winning strategies, post trade ideas, give advanced advice, and much more. So click the link below to join our Patreon. Alright, as I said, today we will be testing the Ulcer index indicator. Before we do though, I wanted to put the testing scoreboard up for everyone to see. So to date, we have tested a total of 51 different strategies, with 13 of them being profitable. We've also tested a total of 687 indicators, with 276 of them being winners. The best ones so far were able to achieve a 100% win rate. Now, you need to go back and watch those videos to understand the context of how they were able to achieve that. So go back and watch those videos and see what you can get out of those winning indicators. And keep in mind that we test most of these strategies and indicators on the Forex market, but they can be applied to just about any market universally. Okay, so today's indicator is the Ulcer index indicator, and you can see it here on the bottom of the screen. And so I did have to go in and make a slight modification to this just to kind of see what this one can do. I was just kind of curious with this one. And so I know normally we test all the indicators on their default setting and we don't make any changes to them whatsoever. And this one on its default setting has an input of cutoff of 5. In this case, I dropped it down to 2, and it does look like you would have to kind of dial that number in depending on what pair or what crypto or whatever it is that you happen to be trading. You would need to dial that in a little bit. And so basically what this does is it kind of detects where there are kind of spikes in activity, I guess you could say, spikes in momentum, spikes in buying pressure or buying selling, however you want to put it. Basically, it's picking up these areas where there's a lot of activity taking place. And so if I scroll back a little bit here, you can see that we get these spikes above that cutoff line up here where the line turns red. And to make it even more challenging, there's really no direction to this. And so it basically just spikes when it picks up a lot of activity. And so the theory behind this is that when we are getting close to a reversal in the market, we'll pick up a lot of activity at around that point. And that's because we're getting a really back and forth struggle between the buyers and the sellers. And so, for example, when there is a downtrend taking place, then the majority of people are just riding that downtrend. There's not a lot of battle back and forth. When there's an uptrend taking place, kind of same deal. It's when we hit these periods where we are about to experience a reversal, or I guess you could say that it's a byproduct of that. The reversal is a byproduct of the struggle. We run into these areas where all of a sudden we get a struggle between buyers and sellers, and it creates a lot of pressure in the market and a lot more activity taking place in these little concentrated areas. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look for when this spikes above that cutoff at the 2 level there. And what we're going to do is when that takes place, we are going to look at what the most immediate trend direction is. And so for example, right here, we get this spike above. You can see that we were moving down, clearly moving down right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look and wait for this line to cross back below that 2 marker, and then we are going to go in the opposite direction of the most current trend that is taking place. Again, the theory is that we're getting a cluster of activity in this area because we've pushed down and now buyers and sellers are starting to battle each other, and it is evident that we might see a reversal take place. And so that's what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and get on with the testing and see what we can get out of it. Okay, so we get that spike to the downside there, or the spike to the upside there, and you can see here that we are moving down. Price action is moving to the downside. Very clearly a downward direction taking place here. And so now all we're going to do is look for this red line to then cross back below that 2, and we are then going to go long. All right, it takes place right there on that one. And so that's going to be a signal to go long right there. Let's go ahead and play it forward a little bit and see what happens. All right, so we do get a little bit of a drop in the market right after that long signal. It isn't quite enough to hit our stop though, and so we avoid our stop just barely, and then you can see that we push up, come back down and test that area, and then we push back up a little bit more there, and not really sure where price action is going to go at this point, but this one right here was a winner. Let's go ahead and continue on. All right, so we get that spike to the upside right there. Again, you can see that we're clearly pushing down right here. We've run right back into this little zone right here, and you can see that that's right at that same area right here that we get that battle between the buyers and sellers once again. We then get the cross back below right there on that one. And looks like we immediately get a nice spike to the upside, and that is enough to get us to our take profit. Let's go ahead and continue on. All right, we get that spike above again one more time. Once again, we are pushing down. Let's play this forward a little bit. We get the cross back below right there on that one. Let's go ahead and play it forward, and we get a nice little move back to the upside there, and it does hit our take profit once again. So far, we're doing really well. We're gonna go ahead and finish out this year since we are so close. Let's go ahead and continue on. Alright, so that's going to put us at the end right there. Before we take a look at what this was able to achieve, now would be a good time to say that if you are interested in excelling your trading knowledge, I highly recommend that you join our Patreon only channel on our Discord server. You can find a link to our Patreon down below, as well as a link to our Discord. Once you sign up as a patron, it'll give you access to the Patreon only channel, where we post some really great advanced information about trading strategies, trading indicators, and trading philosophy in general. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you'll get access to the full list of indicators that we have tested. That comes in an Excel version and a PDF version, and you will get that full list of indicators showing exactly which indicators were winners, which ones were losers, as well as their win rates. And you'll get access to an Excel sheet of all the strategies that we have tested that shows exactly which strategies were winners, which ones were losers, as well as their win rates, and links to go back and review those individual strategies. And so there is a lot of benefits to becoming a patron of the channel, and it doesn't cost hardly anything at all. I highly recommend it. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our indicator here. So pretty clear there. We have 3 trades all together, and we have 3 winners. So we picked ourselves up another 100% winner. Now I know obviously 3 trades is not extremely significant to really get an idea of what the win rate of this indicator is going to be. And to be real honest with you, again, we kind of skirted the rules on this one a good deal, and so we changed the settings on this, which we generally do not do, but on the 5 level it was extremely rare that the line spiked above that area, and so it would have been almost useless to even test it that way. And to be real honest, again, I thought that this indicator was pretty interesting. Again, I threw it on screen, was playing around with it a little bit to determine whether or not we could test it and how we would test it. And during playing around with it, I discovered that it seemed to do a pretty decent job of giving a visualization of areas of support and resistance. And so if you were to go back and mark the peaks that took place on all these hills here, these mountains of this oscillator, then it would map out a rather decent support and resistance style grid. And so for example, if we just go through each of these areas, look at where price action was and what it was doing when that peak took place. And so this one right here was this peak right there, that area right there to the downside. And then if we move forward a little bit, right here we can see that we picked up an area of interest right there, and it does seem like it got a little excited here in this little stretch. A lot of areas that it did spike, but as you can see, if you just kind of keep following along and mapping out those areas that it was spiking, then this video is going to get a little bit long, so I don't want to keep going too much here. But you can see that those areas start to become areas of interest later on. And so you can see that now we get this push to the downside, we run into consolidation, then we get a push to the upside, and it runs right back into this line right here, where it just kind of bounces along, channel trading up and down into that area, coming down, testing it, pushing back up, coming down, breaking through, pushing back up. And you can even see all the way up here into the future, you can see that those areas become areas of interest that are now acting as support and resistance for this particular pair. And if I go all the way to current date right now, you can see that these lines again form a really nice grid where you can look for opportunities of bouncing and deflecting and just moving around. You can see that they're even valid up to this point right here where we're running right into it, rejecting, running into it, rejecting, running, rejecting, running, rejecting. It finally breaks through, comes up, gets really close to this one, might not have caught that one, but then it spikes up into here and starts to bounce around. You can see that obviously those are areas of support and resistance that even to this day price is respecting, and you're still picking up those mountains that are taking place. And so if you consider that now you have these areas mapped out, and you're also looking for these spikes in the indicator as well, then you could really map out some decent support and resistance. So anyways, this video is getting too long. I'm going to have to cut it here. I just thought you guys might be interested in this one and kind of seeing what it was that I was seeing as well. See if maybe that's something you're interested in throwing on screen and adding into your arsenal of indicators. So all right, that's it for this one. That is going to go on the yes list, and we will move on to the next indicator from here.